Hello, hello, hello. Who do we have online? Ta-da-da-da-da. Elizabeth, you're the first to get online today. That girl's not playing. She wants to put $1 million in the bank account. Jesse, you came third. Yeah, Maria, Michael. Yeah. Amy Doris. Elizabeth's not playing. She wants $1 million in the bank account. She's the first to come today. Woo. Mr. Ojimado. Flora Ibrahim. Thank you guys. Um, so today I decided I was gonna do a question and answer session, and that's why I'm holding the phone up close so that I can. You're not playing. Elizabeth is not playing, and also I'm trying to do a live invite. So if you're in a good location and you want to talk on the show, I'll invite you. Your video will pop up at the section, and then we can have a two-way conversation. But today's pretty much my goal today is to answer all your questions. Last week I dropped so much information. My phone blew up with questions upon questions. Of course, I tried as much as possible to answer each and every question within the time that I have, to still do other things that I do. So I tried my best. For some of you that I couldn't get back to, I'm working as much as I can to make sure I get to you. So today, I'm gonna be taking questions we're gonna do a little review, a quick review of a recap of what we thought last week. Because I just don't want to. I have so much to tell you. Believe me, I have a terabyte of information to give, but it'll be useless if you're not, getting a hold. Hey, Justine Magno, how are you? How's Berlin? Yeah, I have a ton of information to give out, but I feel like the way you're gonna enjoy or get a benefit of the information is when you ask questions, and I can answer those questions live within this time frame. And then we're gonna do a recap. Also, we're also going to take time to go into detail of what we taught last week, because it's real. We already have testimonies between last week and now. Some of you have already gone out and started doing marketing and started calling those for sale by homeowner signs and started. I mean, I was so excited. FIA, in effect, Lisa. Lisa was a person that branded this class, Financial Intelligent Agent, with her glasses. Yeah, so so I was talking about how you can invest in multiple markets. We talked about the cash flow quadrant. We talked about how to move from quadrant to quadrant. Some of you are already business owners. How can you move away from being a business owner to being a self-employed? Sorry. How can you move away from being a self-employed to being a business owner? How can you move from being a business owner to being an investor? We talked about the different mindsets that you need to move from column to column or from one quadrant to the other. We did talk very, very much extensively on the quadrants, and then we talked about the investing in real estate and how you can leverage real estate to acquire $1 million in assets. And we talked about how you can tie together with Roth IRA, self-directed IRA, and then I did give you guys some homework. Okay. How long are you planning on holding this phone? Why don't you find somewhere to fix the phone? I think it would be easier. Okay, I'll see what I can do. Maybe I can do that because I felt like I wanted to be up close because I have my board here. I didn't want you guys too far from the board so that you can easily, or maybe I should bring the board closer so that I can write sometimes, and then you guys can also get a feel of the whole thing. Good morning. This is right up my alley. I am heading to earn much money, much more than $1 million. Emma, wow. Yeah, finally accepting God's blessing in my life. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Mr. Tade, you're welcome. Zainab, welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we're going to be taking questions, so start putting your questions in there so I can answer them. All the questions we have from watching the video last week. Leveraging residual income, yes. Residual income, we also talked about that. Sonia from Ohio, USA, you're welcome. Mr. McDonald. Mr. McDonald and I share the same disease. It's called gadgets. I love gadgets and he loves gadgets, and we're just talking about it the other time in Ukraine when I traveled to Ukraine, and we're talking about issues with gadgets and how we're trying to curb it. But since we all came back, he couldn't get his hand off of gadget, I couldn't, and we were just laughing about it. Yes. So yeah, the whole essence about being, being financially comfortable is to do the things you love, buy the things you want to buy, but number one, to establish the kingdom of God on the earth. That is the number one purpose. And then every other thing will be added to you. Money is not a problem if you understand the purpose of money. Otherwise, that money is going to destroy you. Money is meant to serve people. Money is meant to be used to serve people. You don't serve money at the expense of people, but you use money to take care of people. That is it's a no-brainer. Why would you have money and you're not taking care of people? We've seen places where governments rather fight wars than take care of their own people. If they want to fight a war, millions and billions were going to come out. But if it's time to take care of their citizens, then they start talking stories. I believe there are some other things involved. Why? Because that's not rational, normal human behavior, if you ask me. Why governments do that, or people in the corridors of power, why do they do such a thing where they have to use the funds of the nation to fight wars and not take care of the people that elected them in office? So, it beats you, beats me. But the most important thing, like I told you, is that money is meant to serve people. You use money to bless the lives of people. So people comes first. Love people, take care of people, take care of people in your neighborhood, take care of your families, take care of those around you, take care of the less privileged. If you have a car and maybe your cousin was driving the car, how can someone who has no money buy such properties? You mentioned last time, even if you have no money. Yes, I did. Did you watch the video? The strategy that I shared with you guys last time was the fact that you can actually acquire these properties with this homeowners. Like I gave you the number one scenario, that you need to find a situation that what you're looking for is a situation, maybe a divorce, somebody can pay the mortgage and things like that. And people want to walk away from their mortgage. Once you find that kind of situation, then you pitch them. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys on how to approach homeowners, how to approach homeowners, how to have a conversation, how to evaluate properties and things like that. Those figures, that you need to know. So basically I told you a lot of people want to walk away from their money, and a lot of people will want to pay you to take over their mortgage. So it's not only that you don't have a money down, but at the end of the day, you're still going to make money taking over the mortgage and taking over their assets. Believe me, I have, tons of people who've taken over properties with no money down. So you want to take over people's assets, but it's a very legal transaction set. We talked about the fact that it's called a subject to transaction. Today I'm going to delve in a little bit more into subject to transactions, so you have an idea how the whole process works and how you can set it up. Oh yeah, Emma says, I love that side. I am approaching homeowners in my career as land agent. Okay, yeah, okay. She's a land agent, and she, approached homeowner. I have one of you actually been in touch with me. She went out, found a deal like that. The house was worth $120,000, she said, and the mortgage was $800. So out of the $800 in mortgage, the man, it's like a 2-bedroom, 2.5 property, and the homeowner rented each room for $800, and the mortgage is $800. So he was bringing in $1,600 a month, but because of landlording and issues, and he lives far away from the state. I think he lives in Maryland. He lives in Florida, while the property is in New Jersey. So she said she spoke with the homeowner, got in contact with the phone number that was displayed and called that number, and they started talking. And I told her, I said, look, this is beautiful. You are negotiating for an asset of $120,000. Have you ever done that before? She said, no. I said, look, the only difference between those who failed and those who succeeded is that those who succeeded tried. Those who did not succeed did not try. So, yeah, it does apply to people in UK too. Yes, it does. It does apply to people in the United Kingdom. Check your local real estate systems there. It does apply. In fact, matter of fact, there are other strategies that are even speculative to UK that will blow your mind. Which is a little bit advanced for people who are much into real estate investing on the advanced level. But I can tell you that it's basically the same thing that is obtainable here that is obtainable over there. So you can actually talk to these homeowners and be able to get them to pay you to give over their assets or take control of their assets. And I also told you that what to do with those assets when you get them. No money down means no money down. In fact, not only that it's no money down, you can get money out of it. I told you of a friend who got paid $26,000 to take over a property, because the homeowner just wanted to get rid of it so badly. Yeah, so keep bringing all the questions. So basically, it's a transaction that is very legal. You take it to the settlement companies, the title companies. There is a section that the government has provided for that kind of transaction, but just a lot of people don't know about it. So if you're struggling financially or your credit system is not too in shape for you to get a loan from the bank, this is one sure way that you can acquire properties. And I'm telling you, it will leverage you, it will boost you. It changes your mindset when you start earning in the hundreds of thousands and getting into the $1 million phase. It changes the way you think. A lot of us are so stuck on $10 an hour. We're stuck on $5 an hour. But I tell you, that mindset is not going to change until you do something about that mindset. The mindset of somebody who controls millions and the mindset of somebody who controls $10 an hour are not the same thing. The mindset of $8 an hour person, they're not the same thing. Can you acquire for sale by owner props in other states? Yes, everywhere in the U.S., UK and Canada, you can acquire those kind of properties and take over the mortgage and then control the asset. The key strategy there is controlling the asset, getting a title deed on your name. There's something called a quit claim deed. A quit claim deed is something that you can even prepare over the counter in the kitchen and take it down to yes, that's slavery. Working for such people, you're working $5 an hour, $8 an hour, $10 an hour, and you're just struggling for the next 30 years. No, there's a better way to do it. You're still working, but there's a shortcut, to have a much better life. Even though you're working, you're going to be making more money doing what you do. Okay? Sorry, guys, I have to drink this because of my throat. For the past 3 days, my system just messed up and I had to just calm down a little bit. Can a foreigner come and purchase in the USA? Yes. A foreigner can purchase in the USA all day long. You can own property in the United States. Can you acquire the property on behalf of someone? Yes, you can. You can acquire property on behalf of another person. You don't have to be in the United States. And I did tell you my DSA mug. Yes, this is my DSA mug. Thank you. Yes, so for all of you that are DSA on a DSA platform, I'm planning something for you guys, something special to help you guys, on a more one-on-one basis, but only for those on the DSA platform. If you're not on the DSA platform, then I'm gonna have to charge you big time to be on that system. But if you want it to for free, you have to be on DSA platform. That's my family. Those guys, I can hold them by the hand and show them, because this is all about the kingdom. Okay, so yeah, so basically, real estate investment is what made the banks in the US say most pretty much they depend on the giving out loans and things like that. They make a lot of money from rents. Let me give you an example. You go and buy a house and you put a 30-year mortgage on that property. 30 years. So maybe you're 30 at the time you bought your first home or when you bought the house. And then the bank is telling you that the only time you're going to own this property is in another 30 years because you sign up a 30-year mortgage. When you sign up for that 30-year mortgage, then what happens? Then at 30 years to your current age right now, that's 60 years. So, but you'll be 60 before you own a house debt-free. That's if nothing happens to you. That's if you don't lose your job. That's if you don't get sick. That's if challenges of life don't throw curveballs at you and you're diligent in paying that money every month for the next 30 years. So just imagine how long that takes. And then if for some reason on your 28th year or on your 29th year, you stop paying the mortgage and you default, the bank they can legally take back the property from you. Yes. Like how much can someone get to invest into property? Well, investing into property depends on how much you have, beginning from the no money down transactions to the money in the bank transactions. There are properties here that goes for $30,000, $40,000, and you can bring in $1,600, $1,500 every month doing just residual income. Just imagine you invest $40,000 in a real estate property, you fix it up a little bit, and then you rent it out, and somebody's paying you $1,600 every month just to be in your property, you know. And after that, you know, they renew their lease or whatever happens, you kick them out, or you know, or they move on, and then you put somebody in there. And as time goes on, the value of those rentals go up. You never have 1 year that the rental goes down because, you know, there's so much houses in the market. The real estate rental money always goes up. So even when you work and you go to work and you work and you come back home, you discover that the first thing you do is when you get home, oh yeah, mostly mortgages is 30 years. I mean, you can opt for the 15-year mortgage if you like, if you qualify for that payment, but pretty much it's a 30-year thing. So when you get a mortgage, you're going to be stuck for the next 30 years to pay it off. And if you don't pay it, even on the 29th month, if you don't pay off that mortgage, then the bank legally can take over the property and kick you out. So all the money you've been paying for the past 28 years just goes to drain. And then they'll take the property and then they'll sell it to somebody else. By then, your property has acquired value. And then they keep making the money again. And by this time, they've already made all their money, but then they keep making money all over again. Hi, Foma. How you doing? Welcome to my show. So we did talk about that. I was telling you that one of you went out this week. I was so proud of her. She went out this week and she spoke to a homeowner. The property was worth $120,000. The deal didn't go through yet because the homeowner wanted $10,000 to get rid of it. Like I tell you, and then she was like, I thought there's no money down. I'm like, yeah, some homeowners will want you to pay them, but just because they want you to pay them doesn't mean that you have to pay them. If you don't want to pay them, it's an at-will transaction. You say, okay, I don't think I can do this deal. Just leave your address with them and say, call me when you change your mind about this transaction. And even like my first subject to transaction, the one that I acquired, I told you, it took 3 weeks for the homeowner to call me back. You know, I gave him, I pitched them, and I walked away. And then it took 3 weeks to really make up their mind. I mean, they were instantly ready to do it because they already had a situation, but it took them 3 weeks, you know, for them to make up their mind. If the bank takes your property and sell it off, they sell it for higher than what you owe, they're obligated under the law to give you the difference. That is correct. So if they have to give you the difference under the law, if they sell it more than what you owe the bank. So for the most part, the property would even go to the market for, I think usually in that kind of situation, the starting bid will be how much the bank is being owed or thereabouts. It will include what you're owing them. They set the priority of their starting bid, but for the most part, they'll put it on the market by law legally to sell it to recover their own money. And then depending on what the market says, if it goes a little bit, they can give you. If it doesn't, but the most important thing is, since they have the first lien position, they have to be satisfied first, depending on what the market says. So thank you, Drew. Drew is one killer real estate investor in the United States. It's also somebody that a good friend of mine. My mug. Oh, sorry, it's my sore throat. That's what I'm drinking today. Thank you. So basically, the whole idea of subject to investing, like I told you, one of you went out last week, spoke to this, but I told her to just leave her address with this homeowner and just wait it out. Sometimes it takes a while for these homeowners to respond because they're holding on to this property. They don't want to let go. But after a while, they just come back and say, you know what, let's do a deal. Let's do this, and we can. We can always do deals. So sometimes, you leave them your address. When he struggles with it a little bit, he'll call you and say, all right, come over and take all the property. So today we're going to do a quick recap, and then I'm going to talk real quick about how to talk to a seller, a motivated seller. Very, very important, because she was like, what do I say? How do I say it? You didn't get my notifications? Ooh, really? Okay, I think there's a way to turn on the notifications there, and please share this video. There's a way to turn on the notifications over there so that you know how to you'll get a notification when I go live. Okay, so like I was telling you guys, last week I did acquire another property. I told you the property is worth $230. I just got the combinations to it today. So sometime within the week, I'm going to go to that property and I'm going to do a Facebook Live from that property and show you that these things really do work. And what am I telling you this? Because if you're working right now, you're making money, making a certain amount of money, and Lisa, you didn't get a notification either. Okay, find the button there, and you click on turn on notification, and then it will notify you once I go online. Okay. Hi Frank, you guys just came in. Maybe a lot of you didn't get a notification. That's why, but it's okay. Just make sure you share the video and other people can see it, and then they can watch it. All right, so like I was telling you, you just need to break out of your cycle. We talked about, last week we did talk about the quadrants, the income quadrants. And I told you about the fact that most people who are struggling today are Christians, financially, because we have eroded our mindset and our thinking with religious mentality. How do you set up the notification on the phone? There is a place there on the button that says turn on notification, or maybe if you wait after the broadcast and then it shows you that the broadcast is over, the notification always comes there. Oh yeah, Amonike has just done that. Okay, so yeah, thank you guys. So basically, I told you about the fact that if you have to learn how to move out of the quadrants, move from the employee quadrant. The E quadrant, I told you, is the employee quadrant. That quadrant is where so many people get stuck on. That quadrant is what you're trained in school to stay on. That quadrant is what you went to school for. And everything they told you for the past 20-something years that you've been going to school is so that you can get a good job. Yes, every Sunday, 4 o'clock, I'll be live. Hi, Victor. I'll be live and I'll be sharing mindset of the garbage thinking of church is Jesus suffered for us, so we have to suffer our rewards in heaven, blah blah blah. Yeah, your reward is in heaven, and God will do it. God has put everything on automation. Even human beings, we have discovered the term or the concept called automation. So why not God? God put automation in place. Everything is on autopilot, right? When a baby is conceived, it's on automation. God doesn't have a hand in it because there is a process of life, So that's actually what's impeding a lot of us, because, instead of us to get up and take action and take our destinies in our own hands and fix things, we just sit down and wait on God to do stuff. God is not going to do it. He's already done it. He's just waiting on you to get up and get to work. Okay, and then go look for information. Like, I'm sharing this information with you. I didn't get it on the street. I didn't pick it up on the floor. I paid for it. I went searching for it and I found it, and then I came and started sharing with you guys because I love y'all and I want y'all to prosper. You know, it doesn't take anything out of me if you're prosperous. It just means I have another millionaire friend. Just imagine if I raise 100 of you to have your $1 million in asset properties. Then, you know, I just have 100 friends who are millionaires, you know, who we can fly out together and have fun together and, you know, do the right things that we're supposed to be doing. So basically, I told you that a lot of people are stuck in the E quadrant. And I told you last week, the E quadrant is the employee quadrant. This is where you've been for a long time. You work 9 to 5 every month, 9 to 5 every day, 9 to 5. But you have to think, how do I get out of this 9 to 5? Some of you don't like, once it's like today's Sunday, you're already afraid because tomorrow morning you're going to face that boss that you don't like. And you're actually driving to work to go work for somebody you don't like. So, I mean, just imagine how wrong it is, you know, for you to go somewhere, you know, and tomorrow morning is Sunday, you're already fidgeting because you're going to be working for somebody you don't like. Why would you do that? You know, find a way to come out of that system that you have, and then maybe you change jobs, the same thing, because everybody who employs you automatically controls you for the 8 hours. You know, they control your 8 hours, and those 8 hours are the most important 8 hours of your life. And listen, they are building a premium on your time. They are bidding for you. They are competing for you. You know, a lot of us are stuck in that Uncle Sam because Uncle Sam stopped you from doing many things you should be doing. Yes, that is true. Uncle Sam puts you in a chain, you know, puts you in that bondage where you're just walking every day 9 to 5. Some of us have to drive 1 hour to work, and then we have to come back after 1 hour, after 8 hours, and then get back in traffic. Sometimes, you know, go to the Beltway. It's traffic. It's crazy. It's a nightmare. Everybody is stuck in there. It's time to get out of that 9 to 5 and find other ways to supplement your income so that you can free your time. You know? So if you can make us a millionaire, then we can be friends. Sure. By force by fire, I must leave Uncle Sam. Yes. Yes. Monica says she wants to, you know, I kicked my Uncle Sam and I moved out of the E quadrant. When I heard that message, DSA's message on stop working for Uncle Sam, I just woke up one day and I told myself, I cannot continue like this. I cannot continue like this. You know, I just refuse to continue like this for the rest of my life. And guess what? I don't want any other hour of my life for the rest of my life to be a bitter hour that I'm going to wake up and feel bad and feel sad. I mean, why should I do that and then go sit in a cage or sit in a cube or sit in wherever you're sitting on Mondays and you sit there for 8 hours straight? And it's not because you can't say I want to go, but because you're scared you have to pay your bills. And those bills become a chain on you, you know, and the bills keep coming, you know. Thank you, Stanley. Stanley was my schoolmate. Yes. Keep up the good work. Thank you. So we have to find ways to get out of Uncle Sam. We have to find ways to get out of that 9 to 5. We have to find ways to be an investor. We have to find ways to invent something. We have to find ways to motivate. Yes, the bills are a chain. So, you know, thank you for that question, that comment. That just, you know, triggered something in my brain. The bills are a chain, you know. So you need to make an estimate of what is your monthly, what are your bills for the month? You know, what are your commitments for the month? You know, those things that must be paid. It is bitter hour. The bills are a chain too. Yeah, it's a bitter hour because if you spend 8 hours being bitter times 5, I mean, that's equivalent to cancer because bitterness is just inside of you. You're not talking about bitterness because you're bitter with somebody. You're just bitter with life. You're bitter with job, with anything. But God gave you a brain, you know. So I was talking to you right now about what she just said and what it triggered in my brain. So this is the first step of getting out of the E quadrant. So I'm going to share that with you real quick. And then we're going to go. It looks like 1 hour is not enough. I have so much to tell you, but I don't want to also overload you. It's better. Yes. So you need to figure out in a month, do an Excel spreadsheet. How much do I need? Or currently where I am right now, how much do I have to have every month to survive, or at least to get by? Let's start there, okay? I know that's not where you want to stop, but you talk about your rent, you talk about your electricity, what else? Your phone bills, your food, gas, electric. Okay, we talked about electric, gas, electric and heating or whatever. If you have gas among that. So you list all those things, itemize them, and say $2,000 a month or $2,600 a month. Student loan, credit cards. What are those drop dead bills that you have to pay in a month? This is how to get car insurance, fuel. Thank you. Car insurance. Just imagine if you were on the other side of the car insurance company. Just imagine how life is set up. The car insurance people send you a bill every month. Or in fact, as a matter of fact, they do a direct debit from your account. They don't care if you have it or not. That system is automatically programmed to debit you or credit or whatever and charge your bank account. So just imagine, how you've been spending your life. You're on the other equation of the spenders, while the insurance company is on the equation of the receivers. So every blessed month, your car loan, your rent, your electricity, your phone bills, your food, your gas, these things are constant. It is constant. Your rent or your mortgage is constant. Even if you don't have money to eat, you want to at least protect where you lay your head. So that's number one thing, and that's why this strategy is a really good strategy. And I'm going to show you how to get out of the E column. I had to resign in my last job because I drove more than 38 miles. Wow. Going back and forth, making almost 80 miles a day, 5 days a week. So I wish, she wish could just invest that time. It hurts me when people lose time. Time is our most precious commodity, and that's what drives me to do this today, because I want to find every opportunity to see how I can contribute, my little quarter, so that the time you spend with me, children's school fees, these things are constant. I mean, you see some parents, they don't even have shoes, or their shoes are worn out, but they can't afford to go buy shoes, not because they don't have the money, but that money is assigned and already apportioned to something else. Some of you, your money is already budgeted. Yeah, so it's so, and this is not something you pray away. You just sit down and be praying and praying. It won't go away with prayer. You have to do something. You have to come up with a strategy. You just have to wake up. Like that sister said, she drove 38 miles one way, and almost 40 miles every blessed day, plus traffic, plus putting her life on the line, getting in traffic and driving the highway for 5 days a week, round the clock. Just imagine, and that just sucks your soul away. It takes away your creativity, it takes away your energy, it takes away everything. You need to fight for your time, because time is what you have. Fight for your time. Fight for your time. Fight for your time. Don't just sit down and let time just be flying out of the window. Some of you are wasting time, some of us are spending time. I mean, we need to invest our time instead of just waste our time. Yeah, prayer without action, just words. Too many Christians wait on God and die on Him waiting. Yes, we drive too far, 43 miles one way. Wow, just imagine that. Just one way, what you could be doing with that time, and then you sit down for 8 hours so that somebody can make you pay all these mundane things. So this is not just mundane things, what to eat, what to drink, what to lay ahead. Just imagine, this is the things Jesus talked about, where to lay ahead, where to drink, and this is just those mundane things. Just imagine, that takes everything from you. It's just an insult to imagine the fact that your time is being stolen by mundane things. Just mundane things to eat. Okay, let me ask you, how many of you can remember the food you ate 4 years ago by this same time? 4 years ago. You can't remember because, it's inconsequential. But guess what? That's what we're working on to earn. excuse me guys, to put food on our table. We work so hard to put food on our table, to pay our rents. But if we have a strategy that we can use to replace these things and create a residual income so that all these bills are taken care of, then we can free our time to do those things that you're actually called to do. And the key is to maximize your potentials. You need to maximize your potentials by finding ways to get out of this E quadrant. I told you last week, the E quadrant is the employee quadrant, the S quadrant is the self-employed quadrant, the B quadrant is the business owner quadrant, and I quadrant is investor quadrant. And I told you the richest people are the I quadrant and the B quadrant, business owners. Last week I told you that you need to go find a business and buy that business, invest in that business or whatever you need to do. But let me tell you something about business when you buy a business. But first, look at all these things. Estimate how much a month your drop dead money should be. I call it drop dead money, or bottom line money. Let's use the word bottom line money. Your rent is fixed. You have to pay your rent or you're gonna be on the street. Food is fixed. You have to buy food or you're gonna be on the street. Car insurance is fixed. You have to buy the cough. My cough is awesome, okay? Thank you. So pretty much you have to do these things. You are forced to do it. You are forced to do it. That there are things that you must do. There are things that you just cannot escape. So it's like you are stuck. You just have to do this thing, otherwise your life is over or whatever. Because, just imagine your life if you can't afford all these bare necessities. And that's why we go to work and we just sell off our times. So what is the strategy to get these things under control so that those needs are met, and then you can use the time to focus on other things? Because now this one, takes your time away from the things you're supposed to be doing, discovering your potentials, using your gifts, using your talents, impacting lives, changing the world, things that you need to do. Some of you, maybe you just want to spend time with your baby. You have a child, or you have children that needs their mom or they needs their dad, but dad has to go to work 6 a.m. Mom had to do the same thing. Now the children are left for themselves. You come back 8 o'clock, you're already tired. 30 minutes or 1 hour of homework, and it's time for bed, and your life is just going. And before long you wake up, your children are grown up, you never had quality time. So you want to buy time. Time is what God gave you. All right? So basically, I wanted to keep sending the questions. Keep sending the questions. So when you figure out, we said maybe $2,600 is your bare necessity money, that's what has to come in every month. Otherwise, you're going to have challenges, So once you figure out how much that is, then you need to now sit down and draw out a map or strategy how to provide that kind of money for the next 12 months or for the next 24 months or for the next 36 months, so that when you are able to plan on how to have that money coming in without you effortlessly for the next 36 months, then automatically your basic needs have been met. Okay? So, and I told you about this real estate investing, and I told you that if you see a house that is worth $350,000 and maybe you're making $40,000 a year, how many $40,000 is inside of $350,000? You have about 7 of them, minimum. So in other words, what you're telling yourself is, if I'm to acquire a property that's worth $350,000 and find a way to pay it off, I've bought 7 years of my life. Yes, I've bought 7 years of my life. I've bought 7 years of my life. In other words, if I keep working at $45,000 a year for the next 7 years, I can actually pay for it in cash and actually have 7 years to do whatsoever my soul pleases, to do and discover myself, to go and do more for myself. That's what you do. You need to sit down and ask yourself, how much do I make in a month? And how much do I need in a month to get by? And then figure out how to get out of that rough or that leash that puts that that system that puts a leash on your neck and is suffocating you and your time. Some of you can't even go out and do your ministry because you're so stuck in Uncle Sam. Like right now, I can afford to take time off, but until I read that book, Stop Working for Uncle Sam, it just woke me up. I mean, I already knew I need to stop working for Uncle Sam, but after reading that book, I was like, wait a minute. Pastor Sonny was talking about how losing your job is a blessing. And he was right. It's a blessing. You don't need a job. What you need is work. Something that's creative, that will bring the creativity out of you, your talent, your gifts. Sit down, do a brainstorming session. How do I strategize to bring this money home without being there? And I told you something last week about residual income. And I told you residual income is money that comes in without exchange of your time. And I also explained to you last week that those in the E quadrant exchange their time for money. This is where 99.9% people are stuck in. Those who exchange their time for money. So when somebody says how much you earn an hour, I make $50 an hour, I make $10 an hour, I make $8 an hour, I make $5 an hour, you are telling us that your life is worth $5 an hour, because your life is your time. Actually, your life is encapsulated inside of your time. So if you're selling your life for $5 an hour, that's how much you're worth. And why is someone pricing you $5 an hour? Because you're taking on $5 an hour problem. Job and work are two different things. Yes, thank you, Mr. Victor. Job and work they're two different things. God made work so that we can discover ourselves, but job is completely different. You're not meant to be under the yoke of a job. So basically, the E quadrant is where so many people are stuck. And I told you have to find a strategy to get out of the E quadrant and move to the S quadrant, or even the I quadrant. There's no rule that you have to go this way, to get out of this. The arrow does not permanently point this way. The arrow can go this way also. Okay? Yeah, you can be an investor, but you have to be bold. You have to be courageous to be an investor. Find ways to be, to invest. And last week we talked about to write song. Okay, Monica says she's a gospel artist. She needs a place to write song. I realized I was just wasting time with those jobs. I really need to know more about investing. Yes, let's take Monica for an example. She is a gospel artist. She writes songs, but guess what? Her songs can blow up and change her life. She can be called to a concert. She probably needs time to continue to refine her talent and practice and exercise her gifts. Just one show, one concert is enough to pay her for the next 10 years at her current market rate. That's why I see so many people underemployed and just employed in things that they're not supposed to be doing. They're stuck in that tunnel, and I met a friend of mine one time and I was telling her, I said, you need to quit this job. You need to fire this job. Because I talked to her, I'm like, wow, you're so talented. How much are you being paid again? And she told me, I was like, oh my God. And you're just stuck in this thing, But, I eventually helped her get out of it. I kept talking to her until finally, right, the other day she was telling me, thank you so much for pushing me and helping me get out of this job. I'm like, you have all these talents, you have all this education, and you're paid peanuts. On top of that, you're being insulted. And she can't even take leave. She has to beg to take time off. I'm like, wow. I don't have to beg you to take, it's my time. Because she can't take that because she feels like if she does go without permission, then she'll lose a job. And so that fear is holding her there. So you need to find ways to get out of the E quadrant. And I told you to do a total summary of how much your monthly expense is, and then figure out how to replace them with residual income. Once you can be able to replace your minimum budget bill for the month, work gives you fulfillment and job gives you salary. That is correct. So basically, once you're able to find how to replace your basic minimum income with your residual income, then you've automatically changed and exchanged. You've now started introducing a system to get out of that E quadrant, to get out of exchanging your time for money. Yeah, employment is a voluntary enslavement. Coyote says, I'm an architect back home, came to America, and I had to join law enforcement, paycheck to paycheck. Wow. Can't afford to quit the job in order to provide for family. I know architecture will pay me more, but no time to get back into it. Wow. Can you imagine? So, but Coyote, like I'll tell you, what you need to do is to find a way to structure your time. And okay, number one thing you need to do is ask yourself, what other side hustle? Number one, write this down. What other side hustle do I need to add to what I'm currently doing? That's number one way to begin to take steps to replace your Uncle Sam. What other side hustle do I need to do? Thank you, Carrier. Number one is, what other side hustle do I need to get into to replace my Uncle Sam job? That's the first question you need to ask yourself. What other part-time thing? Let me give you my own example. Thanks, Chiwe. Chiwe, just coming. Yeah, you're welcome. We missed you too. All right. So yeah. So what other side hustle do I need to do to be able to make my life more comfortable? So ask yourself, what will an extra $1,000 do in my life? So if an extra $1,000 a month in 12 months is $12,000. If it's frozen, it's probably from your system. Maybe you want to shut down and restart it again. All right. So what other side hustle do I need to do on top of what I'm currently doing right now that I can use to change my life? And that side hustle, when that money comes, don't spend it. Don't spend it. Don't even think about it, because it wasn't coming in before, but you found a way to include it in your system. So once you're able to find another side job that you can do that can bring you an extra income, begin to save that money. That's your investment money. Okay? Some of you have already eaten your future in your mouth. You went and bought a Gucci bag, and I saw something on Facebook, and the post was saying, if you drive $600 a month car note and you live in a $600 a month rent or something like that, he said you're stupid or something like that. I don't know. I can't remember, but the point is, a lot of people are driving their future. Yes, because we poorly invest our resources. I'm an advocate for never getting a loan for a car. Yes. So if I want to buy a car, I buy cash, and I buy the one that I can afford. Even if it's $500 car, I'll buy it and move around, because a Lamborghini will take you to the same place a $500 car will take you to. So I don't need to buy a flashy car, and I'm not trying to impress anybody. You know what I mean? So instead of paying $400 in car note every month, I can put that $400 away into an investment strategy. So we are not thinking of getting out of this system. I asked you, I told you the number one way to get out of the employee quadrant is to find a side hustle. Get the money from the side hustle and put it in an investment, or first of all, put it in a bank. Architecture will grow me big beyond my extra 1,000, but it needs time and dedication to go into it. It's a passion of mine, but I have to be out of job to get into it. Yeah, sometimes you have to burn your bridges. Sometimes you just have to burn your bridges. Sometimes you need to cut down on your budget so that you can have some money saved up before you take that transition. Maybe you used to buy clothes from Nordstrom. Now you need to go down to Walmart. Yeah, and try to see how you can save up some money and give you a 90-day leverage. Side hustles is great. I know someone who's making a lot of by driving Uber. Exactly. Uber is an excellent way. You wouldn't believe it. A lot of my friends, I tell them, I said, Uber is an excellent way. When you talk about like you're broke, I'm like, excuse me? How about a car lease to optimize tax for business owners? Well, car lease, taxes, but that's money deferred. And it doesn't pay you interest. I prefer money I can put in the bank right now and be with me, so that I can take advantage of immediate opportunities. That's the only reason why I don't like all these money deferred terms. I just like the money that I can cash out now and immediately turn them into leverage into an investment. So because if you take a lease and then you do taxes and blah blah blah, and then another thing is IRS comes back and start auditing you, and then it gets into all kinds of complicated stuff. I just don't want to deal with that. If they come back, I want to deal with them and then get the tax report, get it moving. But that money that I can save now, so better still, I just buy a car that I can afford and then drive it, and I forget about the flashy car. When I have the cash to buy a flashy car, I pay cash for it, but I'm not gonna owe anybody, so that I can channel all the money I'm getting into an investment to get myself out of the employee quadrant. So find a side hustle. And one of the things I did when I first came to the US, when I found a side hustle was then I started working as a software quality control assurance engineer, and in a healthcare company. And then I took a training. I think how much I paid for that, maybe like $750 for that training back then. I didn't even have the money. I had to go around begging people to give me my money because I just came. I didn't have anybody here. So I spoke to a few of my friends. One of my pastor friends wrote me a check for $500, and the other one. That's how I was able to take my training. But I knew I needed it. Even when I did back then, I didn't even have the paper to work. I just came. I was just a student back then, doing my master's degree, and I wasn't supposed to work. But I said, look, one day I might get my papers, but then I want to be able to be ready to capitalize on it. I don't want to start training or learning stuff when I get my papers to work. So I went out in faith and I took that training. But guess what? When I was taking that training, I told myself, even if I never get a paper to work, I'm going to train people with what I know. So listen, what I did is I took the training for $750, watch, and then I went to church, and I told my friends, I said, look at this training, it's going to help you get a good job, get a better job, blah blah blah, and you can make X, Y. My people didn't believe me, so I said, okay, I'm going to offer the training for free. So it's not today I started offering free stuff. So I did a training for free, and the first 2 weeks of training, I had six to nine people in church who came to that training. One of them got a job of over $100,000 a year within the first 2 weeks. It was a 6 weeks training. By the second weeks in training, he already got a six-figure job. That exploded my training. My training became an instant hit. It was a hot cake. People started coming to my training because they could see testimonies. They could see that I've helped somebody. This guy I'm telling you about, he didn't even have money for deodorant. He had a wife and a daughter, but he didn't even know how to feed them. They were just living on handouts, And I said, look, you just can't continue like this. So I trained him, and I think first of all, I gave him my car, just so you can keep it, and then I just bought another one, my first car. So I gave him the one, because when I was driving, somebody gave it to me. So when I bought my new car, I just gave it to him also. And then, I used to give him stipend. I said, look, it's giving you money is not going to help you. Let me show you how I did it and blah, blah, blah. I kid you not, the guy is probably one of my friends on Facebook. Within 2 weeks, by the second week, Wells Fargo offered him a job over $100,000. He went mad, ballistic. He went ballistic, and he never looked back from that time. But guess what? I trained him for free so that I can showcase him to other people. Then immediately my training exploded. I was making money from my side hustle. And that's how, if I'm working and making an X amount of dollar every month or a year or whatever, but my side hustle, I didn't touch it. I just put it in the bank. I kept banking it, So if I was, just imagine I was charging like then, $600 for the training. If I had 10 people, that was $6,000. Just sit in my class and I just talk. All I had to do was talk, and and that money came just because I was able to talk. And that's one thing about knowledge. Knowledge is something that never goes away once you invest in it. So you need to find a way to invest in yourself or find that extra side hustle. And then when you get a side hustle, take that side hustle money and put it in the bank and wait for an opportunity, because opportunity and preparation works very well. When an opportunity comes and you're not prepared, you're going to be crying all day long. So when you begin to do your side hustle, don't touch that money, put it in a separate account and call it your investment money. Now that money needs to go work for you. You've been working for time, now the money needs to work for you. The money is like a slave. Money is like a servant. Money is like an employee. Just if you put your hands in your pocket right now and bring out, a dollar, a pound, or whatever currency you spend, and just look at it and tell yourself, this is my servant. You're going to work for me. I'm going to send you out. You're going to go look for people like you, and you're going to bring them back to me, and you guys are going to keep working for me. So that's how it is. So think money as an employee. Money is your first employee. So already you are a business owner if you have money, because with that money, you can actually send it into an investment that can bring you returns. I'm not talking about Ponzi schemes and all this hocus pocus business. I'm talking about real investments. Okay? So your money from your side hustle. Some of you, maybe it's taking a photograph. You need to be a photographer on weekends. What do you do on Saturdays? Buy a photograph, a camera, and go to weddings and take pictures. Start taking pictures, events, $200, $300 per event. Store that money away for investment, because already you're saturated with your income from your business, from your 9-to-5 job. But your side hustle money is the money that you're going to have to use to invest. Be an investor. That is where the freedom is. Find ways to get out of the E quadrant as much as possible. Some of you need to set goal and say the next 12 months I'm going to get out of the E quadrant. Some of you say the next 3 years I'm going to get out of the E quadrant. But if you never set that goal, you would never achieve it, because you never see a goal post. So you need to have a goal post that you're currently looking at and saying, this goal post is my milestone. By this time I should have started working. And it doesn't mean you need to fold your hand and wait. Maybe you told yourself in 1 year I want to stop working. Sometimes the minute you condition your mind that way and start looking for opportunities to get out of there, and then God start bringing you opportunities to take advantage of, so that maybe at the end of the day it wouldn't have to take you 12 months to get out of the E quadrant, which is the employee quadrant, where you're exchanging your time for money. You get out of that E quadrant and you move into the I quadrant. You move into the B quadrant. Right now, the way I think like an investor. I think as like a business owner. I think like an investor. I think like a business owner. That's how my mind works. It took me time. You have to set that goal to get yourself out of the E quadrant. Think of, how can I set structures that people need? How can I provide services that people need? How can I provide value that people need? Wealth comes when you provide value. People place premium on value. Why do you want to buy that new Jay-Z album? Because he sat in the studio and then he said some wiggity whack and recorded it, and then he put the CD out, and people are purchasing it. Create a platform for yourself. Create value. Value is what people put money on. And when you create value, money will come to you. And when that money comes, you need to send that money out again as a slave to go work for you. Don't work for money. Stop working for money. That's what it means to stop working for Uncle Sam. So set a goal and tell yourself, in the next 6 months, I'm done with this Uncle Sam. Or in the next 3 years, I'm done, because I'm, this and that, depending on where you are in your life. But set a goal and then write that goal, write that vision, place it on the wall, and tell yourself that in the next 3 years, I'm done with anything that has to do with 9 to 5. You need to get out of this quadrant. There's so many people here. There's no space down there. Money needs to be working for you. Just like you're working for your boss. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Maybe the guy is even younger than you, but you have to say yes, sir, to keep your job. What does that remind you? You're acting like a slave. So set a side hustle that you can put in place and begin to save money for an investment, so you can capitalize on opportunity. Send your money on errand. Stop working for money. Let money work for you. Let me give you another example. One day I was just, I subscribed to one of these mailing lists, and so a perfectly business opportunity showed up. And that opportunity, all I needed to invest was $20,000. And I'll be making $1,600 every month for the rest of my life. I missed that opportunity because I didn't have the cash. So, and the guy kept calling me, he said, how far? I was like, I'm trying to raise the money. But after that, I didn't sleep all night. I cried every night. I said, God, this is not going to repeat itself again. I need to find a way. Sorry, guys, if it's freezing. It's probably your phone or your device. Shut it down and restart it if it's freezing. So find a way to get out of Uncle Sam. Set goals. Come to Baltimore, find a market in your area, there's some real estate you can find for $8,000, $10,000, $20,000 that'll be bringing you residual income every blessed month. It's all paid for. There are properties under $30,000 that you can invest in. There are properties under $20,000 that you can invest in that can bring you. If you buy 2 of those properties, sometimes it will generate, you know. Your voice is only 30s. Wow, Rebecca has set a timeline. Wow, people are taking action. They're not playing. She's done working for Uncle Samoa. Yeah, so you need to be active about your life. You can't be docile. You can't be passive. You can't just sit down and wait for something to happen. Come on, come on. You are the pilot of your life. You are the engineer of your life. You are the prophet of your life. You are the driver. Get on that driver's seat and drive yourself out of that being broke, being busted, being disgusted. Go out there and find a skill, get yourself better, learn something, invest, invest, invest. You know, so I missed that opportunity. I didn't invest, and I till date somebody else took that deal and went with it. So actually, it was a property, and it was such a steal. The guy just wanted to walk away, but I knew if I put a Section 8 tenant in there, I would make like $1,600 every month. But I missed it because I didn't have the money. So this is how I would have had that money if I was investing in the I quadrant. But every month, you say, where do I find that money? Let me tell you where you're going to find that money. The money is already in your hands. Yes, it is. If you have an emergency health situation, will the money come out? Yes, it'll come out. You know, some of you drink coffee every day, $5 every day. That money could have been saved, into an investment account. Some of you, evaluate. Sometimes it's your phone bill. There was a time I was my phone bill was like $140. I said, no, this can't happen. I just evaluated all my expenses, and I went back and I got a $40 a month bare necessity basic phone. Why do you have to pay so much to just talk to somebody? And these people I'm talking to, it's not as if I'm talking to them to give me money. Okay? So, but basically all I did was to look into my expenses and look for where to cut. And I channeled that money into a different account. So maybe every month you can be cutting out $100, $200, $300. Had a month you need to cut out and begin to put that into an investment account. Then start looking for where to invest in. That puts you in a power. That puts you, do you know what they say? They say cash is king. Cash is king. Maybe you made a comment several times. Maybe that's why Facebook did that. Yes, your end date is 8/17/2020. Awesome, awesome. So you need to come up with a strategy. And somebody said, what if I quit my job? When you fall, get up. But those who never tried is those who never ended up coming out of that system. So you need to find a way to get out of. So like I told you, find a way to meet your bare necessities. Like in this area, 2-bedroom apartments like maybe $1,800 a month. If you can find a way to eliminate your rent money on residual income, that money goes into savings. Just imagine, you can find something that can give you $1,800 a month or $1,500 a month for the rest of your life. In other words, it means your rent money has been paid for. So you can live rent-free. So once you start living rent-free, the money that you were previously putting as rent, you can now start saving it and putting it in the investment quadrant. The investment quadrant is where you want to be, where you can invest the money you have. And that's how you break out of this cycle of poverty, break out of a cycle of not having enough, break out of the cycle of not being able to meet your own financial obligations, break out of this habit and this, syndrome where you're just stuck in Uncle Sam and things like that. So find what your basic monthly expenses are and then replace them with a residual income. Replace them with a residual investment. Then rinse and repeat. But before I go, I'm going to give you one strategy you can go home with so that when you do, you can escalate. I call it the escalation clause. Learn a skill, a new skill to improve your life. Skill place you above others. Yes, it's a rat race. Started a business in 2004 as a student. I stopped working for Uncle Sam in 2009, but I had no clue about investing until I listened to Jefferson last year. I spent all my money on shoes and oh goodness. Okay, the days of ignorance, hopefully it's past, and then you can take a coup and start investing and start planning for the future. So before I go, I'm going to leave you with a gold nugget. How many of you are ready for that? So I'll show you what to do The things I'm sharing with you in this place, they are worth mega millions. So I'm gonna share the it's already, we already hit our 1 hour mark. I was asking you guys to put questions there, so if you still have questions from last week, put it in there before I go so that I can answer them live for you. But before I go, I'm gonna give you a gold nugget. How can you buy multiple properties by just owning one property? Again, I'm going to say it. How can you buy multiple properties by just owning one property? How many of you want to learn about that? Okay, I'm going to share that with you. Okay, so you buy a property, say, yes, the days of ignorance are gone, Brenda. Yeah. So you buy a property, like, I recently acquired a property for $20,000. And the property after repair value is like $80,000, right? Find a property that have that characteristics, that have some leverage in it, okay? And I'll show you how to leverage on that to buy more properties, okay? So this is a very simple math, and I told you I will deliver every Sunday. I have so much to share with you. Put in your questions so I can answer them before I go. So if you buy a property that is worth $80,000, you buy the property for $20,000, okay? Let's say you put in another $10,000 to fix the property and bring it. So altogether, the property is costing you $30,000 US to acquire, but the property is actually worth $80,000 by the time you're done, right? So now the as-is value of that property is $30K, okay? Now the after repair value, we call it the ARV, is now $80,000, okay? Now that you've infused some money into your property, that property, the money you infused into your property has now generated $80,000 in value. So this is what you can do. Don't flip it. Don't flip. This is not a fix and flip strategy. This is a rinse and repeat strategy. So you're not flipping don't sell this property. So this property can be bringing you maybe in the neighborhood of $1,600 a month after expenses, okay? Then you tell yourself, if I put a loan on this property, the loan is called a refinance, okay? It's called a refinance. So what I'm sharing with you is if you just catch it, that's all you might need, okay? Just find your way to that first property, cash, okay? Property, the smallest amount, please, because I checked the wholesaling thing, but I didn't really get it. That's why I'm asking this question. Okay, wholesaling. Maybe next week I'll talk more on wholesaling. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about it now, but I'll tell you, with as little as less than $30,000, you can invest in property. Actually, you know, $30,000 US, you can actually buy a functional property that you can rent out. Okay. So that was that question, and then also depends on the market where you are. Somewhere in Tennessee, properties you can get like 10 grand. 15 grand, 20 grand. But I think in Maryland, there's some places you can get property for like 30 grand and you can still rent them out for maybe $1,500 or $1,600 a month. Easy. Every blessed month, it comes in like a clockwork. All right. So you find those kind of properties, you fix it up. The value now turns to $80,000. Okay. So what the bank is going to do is it will give you maybe 70% of that value of that property, or 80% of that, the value of that property. So let's say at the end of the day you do a refinance. So in other words, you're not going to go to the bank and put a mortgage on the loan. You live in London, but you don't have to. You're not restricted to investing in London. You can also invest in the U.S. market. You don't have to. It's a global. The world is now a global village. Don't restrict yourself to where you are. Get on the internet and do your research. You can get into other markets. Even in London, you can find deals there, or go outskirts of London. You don't sit in London. There are outskirts of London. You will find properties that are a little bit cheaper that you can afford and pay cash for. Because London market might be a little bit big for you. You might not have the capital to do it or the leverage. But we'll get to all of that, how to raise capital and things like that. We're going to talk about it in subsequent editions. So you get the property, and now you fix it up. The value is now $80,000. You put a mortgage on it. Maybe the mortgage costs you $65,000. Okay, you put a $65,000 mortgage on that house. Okay, so the bank will give you $65,000 in cash, and then they'll put a lien on the $30,000 property. So now your monthly mortgage on the first property, property A, is maybe $400 or $450. Remember, this property is giving you $1,600 a month. If you pay $450 off of that $1,600, you're still left with like maybe $1,200 or $1,100. So this property A is generating $1,000 a month to you. Okay, now the bank has given you $65,000 as the loan on that property A that you paid cash for. Remember, the value went up after you fixed it up. Yes, even in Nigeria, you can do property business anywhere. Okay, so you can, I think even in Nigeria, there's banks are beginning to do mortgage there, so you can put a loan on a mortgage. You can put a mortgage on a loan on a house. What happens if I invested in USA and I'm in Australia, thinking of what happens with it down the road, like something happens to me, can my children claim it as yes, they can. They sure can. Yeah, they can. They definitely can. All they have to do is bring a proof that they are kids, and it's all up to you. And most of these properties are managed by the property management companies that will manage it for you. You don't have to be there. They will take care of putting in the tenant, paying you money, and fixing up things. You don't even have to be there at all. Yes. So you get this property for $20K. You fix it up with $10K. Now the value of the property is $80K. You put a loan on it. You refinance it. It comes to $65,000. Now you have $65,000 in cash. You finish paying the bank mortgage on that property that you put in there. You still have $1,000 with you every blessed month, net. Now you have $65,000. Do you know what you're going to do? Go out and buy 2 more properties. So now you have the capacity to buy property B and property C. Okay? Remember, you picked up that loan from these guys to buy property B and property C. Now you have property B and property C. Property B is what? The same thing, $30K. Property C is what? $30K. After expenses. Maybe you bought it for $20K, you put in $15K or $12K a piece to fix them up. Now at the end of the day, you've put in like $32K a piece in each of this property. Okay? Because you got $65K. So you still have $1,000 to play around with for other expenses. So what happens? Now do the same thing again. Put the mortgage, refinance property B and refinance property C. So the bank will give you, say this property is now worth 75 and this one is now worth 90. Do the same thing you did to property A. Repeat it in property B and property C. When you repeat the same thing in property B and property C, you'll probably get maybe another $60,000 from property B and another $60,000 from property C. Now you can do the same thing all over again. This is generating $1,600 a month. After paying your mortgage, you're left with $1,000. You're left with $1,000. Now you have 3 properties that are giving you $3,000. You have $60,000. You have $60,000 here. Now you have $120,000 in your pocket. So with $120,000 in your pocket, how many houses do you think you can buy? You can buy 4 houses now. Just imagine property D, property E, property F, property G. All cash. These ones are giving you $1,600 a piece. Now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 properties because you only started with first property. Do you understand that strategy? If you don't, watch this video again. I'm giving you gold. Okay? Now you have this one is giving you 1,600, 1,600, 16, 16. So you have 3,000 here, 3,000 here, 3,000 here. So 3, 3, 3. So you're making $9,000 a month. You only started with a $30,000 investment. But now at the end of the day, you've done a raise and repeat until you're now making $9,000 residual income. Actually, that $9,000 comes into your pocket every month without you having to lift a finger up other than manage the property or get a property management company, because already the cost of the property management company is already factored into that. And you're getting $9,000 every blessed month. How about that? How many of you can do it $9,000 a month without leaving your house? Let me see your hands. Raise your hands. Okay, I can't see it, but if you raise it here. All right, so that's the strategy I wanted to share with you today. Very important. If you don't get it, go back and watch this video again. Go back and watch this video again. Put it in your brain. Master it until it becomes a part of you. Or you started with smart and godly living. Thank you. Thank you. If you have so many side hustles, you get yes. It's grateful there. Thank you. Yeah. So look at the strategy I shared with you. I have people who've done it over and over again. This is what they did. They only saved money to buy their false properties. Then they did what I just told you. If you have a property that is what these banks will give you money all day long. They won't even look at your credit because they will look at it as an investment, transactions. You know, I don't get it, but I'll check it again. Yes, try and check it again. But maybe I'll just one more recap before we go. Get a property for $30,000 that has an after repair value higher than itself. So the property is worth $30,000. It's bringing in $1,600 a month. You fix it up to bring it up to $30,000 or $40,000. Now the property is worth $80,000. Do a refinance on that property. You're going to be getting $60,000 or $65,000 or $70,000. Take that money, buy 2 more properties, B and C, and then make sure that those 2 properties are staged to have an astronomical after repair value after it's been fixed. When you do that, do the same thing you did to property A to property B and C. You're going to get, maybe this one will give you 75, then I'll give you 90 or 60. You're walking away with 60,000 a piece from property B and C. Now you can buy 4 properties on top of the 3 properties that you have. Now you have 7 properties. That easily will give you $9,000 residual income. You don't have to be there. I mean, even if there's a bad market and you know you have a occupancy rate that is not so good and you're making $5,000 a month without being there, it's something. That's equivalent of our 6-figure income earner here. While the banks in the USA lend to foreigners, with the banks, there are some private investors that will lend to foreigners. Yes. Yes. So that's how to bring in $9,000 a month residual income. I told you there are multiple ways to bring in residual income. Think residual income. Always think residual income. Always think residual income. How can I make money just for sleeping and waking up? You know, if I take my family and we'll go to Puerto Rico or go to Hawaii or Honolulu or wherever those places, and then we just enjoy ourselves and come back, can I see money in my bank account? Set yourself up that way, and then continue to find other ways to set up residual income. You know, yeah, the same strategy will work in the UK. It'll work in the UK all day long. Yes, it'll work in the UK all day long. Yeah, this strategy will work anywhere. Just put it to work and it will go to work for you. Okay. All right, so any questions as this far, because I'm going to round it up here. We've just hit our 1 hour mark and I don't want to overstretch this. Whoa, 1 hour, 20 minutes. The time just flies in this class. Could you please put the video on YouTube channel? Okay, I will. I'm going to create a channel for this. I would have to watch this again. Please watch it again. If you have any questions, get to me, send me an email or buzz me. My Facebook is exploding. So it's beginning very difficult to catch up with responding to everybody, but I'll try to get to you, you know, I promise. So I showed you this. Go watch this video again. With this strategy, you can make and you don't have to be, a student can do this. You know, I have a student who did this. She already paid for college even while in school. She pays for her own college and she has pocket money. You know, what about in Nigeria, considering the state of our economy? Yeah, you can do the same thing in Nigeria. You just have to find partners that will partner with you to buy a property. Because I can tell you, I can show you, even in Nigeria, you can buy a property, fix it up, and sell it for higher than you paid for it. Yes. So yeah, one thing about properties is once you fix it up, the value goes up. You can't sell a property for the same amount you bought it for. That never happens. You know, get a property, fix it up, the value changes. Now you make a difference. You can buy 2 more. Yeah, you can buzz me on Facebook. Probably leave my email so that you guys can also be able to email me your questions and comments and things like that. I can help you with. All right. So I hope I've been able to help you today. I gave you a gold nugget at the end. So for those of us that waited till the end, this is a very key strategy. Watch it again and again until you understand what I'm talking about. Once you catch it, it's just a skill set that you can use to reproduce money. Just imagine you making $9,000 a month for not robbing anybody, for not shooting anybody. You just set up a transaction that brings money, and money is just rolling into your bank account every blessed month. 9,000 US dollars. Or in pounds. Find a property that has an after repair value greater than its value when it's being fixed. I have some property here in Nigeria in choice areas for sale with affordable prices. Okay, great. Great information, calls for action. Thank you. Yes, if you're in the US, UK, Canada, Australia, go out and look for properties on the street. Because those countries I mentioned have a mortgage system. Even in Europe, if you're in Europe, go try it out. This is a very, very key strategy that is going to make you money. I have so many things to share with you, and I hope you have more questions and I can answer them and help you. But go watch this video, do the things that we talked about in this video, and you're going to find yourself out of this rat race. My job is to bring you the rat race and help you out of it. You cannot afford to spend the rest of your life working for somebody else. Get out of the E quadrant, move to the I quadrant, move to the S quadrant, move to the B quadrant. Okay? All right, thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to sign off. It's been wonderful. I'm going to drink my DSA water again. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. All right, in the absence of any questions, I'm going to end this transmission, and then I'll see you. Within the week, I'm going to be broadcasting from the property that I just acquired with the subject to transaction. So watch out, maybe tomorrow or so, I'll go there and I'll broadcast from there. I acquired that property, no money down. Thank you. Yes, I acquired this. The property is worth $230,000. I acquired property with, I didn't even put a dime in that property, just transactions and the property. But like I told you, I'm just gonna hold on to that property for as long as it takes until the value doubles, and then the renters pay down on the rent, on the mortgage, and the property is mine. So literally, I've stepped into $500,000, in my whatever, just for acquiring that property. So and you can do the same thing. Yes, I have a package for the DSA family. If you're in the DSA family, I have a wonderful package for you guys. Putting it together. But then I'll do like a secret broadcast for that one. I'm not gonna do a public stuff, but only the DSA people will be invited, and how they will be invited, they will be all informed so that they can understand it. So I'm trying to set up something that will benefit everybody, so that we talk too much, but let's do. Let's begin to do more than we talk. Okay? Thank you, Mr. Aldafe Nigoro. Thank you. I've inboxed you, Emma. Thank you. Elizabeth, thank you. All right, guys. Oh, yeah, Mr. Jude, thank you. Lisa, Coolio, thank you. All right, guys, I'll see you guys next week, same time, 4 o'clock, for more